everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to look at the next dimension of 3D modeling. I know all along until now we have looked at how to create 2D sketches, really good 2D sketch really, using some sketch relationship, dimensioning, using the geometric constraints, etc. to be able to build a solid, fully constrained sketch. Today we're going to build upon that knowledge. We looked at so far how to create new part files, how to then select a plane of your choice for sketching. So for instance, I want to go on to top plane to sketch a profile, and until now we have also done exercises like this where I select myself an entity from here. I also make a reference to the origin in order to be able to provide it an anchor point, and following that I have managed to dimension the entities. So in this case I wanted the circle to be 100 mm diameter. And it is a fully defined sketch, so on and so forth. What we have also done in addition to this is we have managed to remove parts of the sketch by using, let's just say, other entities, so some sort of subtractive operations. So I can use the trim entity command to get rid of that bit if I'm not interested in that anymore, so on and so forth. Also, we have looked at how we can use a combination of these to be able to create a new shape. So I could add more profile to this. So for example, I could have a rectangle sitting right here, making that into a profile like so. And I could trim away the entities I don't really need, so on and so forth. And there are numerous operations and versions of this all along. We also made sure that every single time we do create some sketches, we were absolutely sure of dimensioning them fully to be able to get rid of any uncertainty in our design. That's what a good engineer generally aims for, is making sure everything is fully constrained with these green indicators there, and also with the help of some dimensioning options that we have looked at in some detail previously, and this then gives us a fully defined sketch. Now, for us to be able to utilize this sketch to be able to create a 3D model, it's fairly straightforward. I'll demonstrate the process now. Let's just say you wanted to create a slab of cheese which is 100 mm by 200 mm long, okay, and you wanted that slab of cheese to be about 15 mil thick. Tell you what, let's make it 20 mil thick, okay, and that'll be the third dimension here. How do we do that? We are all okay up to this point where we go into a sketch plane, we create ourselves a nice a sketch, we punch in the numbers, we're all happy, the message pops up that says fully defined, etc. Happy days. What we do from this point onwards is we exit the sketch, and once you are out of it, I can then go into Extrude Boss Base. This command is so powerful that you will find yourself using this 9 out of 10 times to be able to create these solids. Okay, this is the Beyonce of the CAD world. It's so important. Okay, what you're gonna do is if the sketch is not pre-selected, you can select that, and then you can go into the Extrude command. It take a couple of moments depending on your computer speed, and then what we're looking at here is it's your block of cheese, really, what we wanted to model originally. As you can probably tell by the gray arrow here, that and also the yellow coloring, that is showing us the preview of what you're about to commit to. So I could, if I wanted to, I could drag that arrow up to make it whatever thickness I wanted that to be. If okay, hang on a minute, I wanted it to be that number there, and you can see as the green numbers are toggling, I can choose for it to be a certain height. This is beautiful stuff, you know. So I can let it go there. I can also control, and obviously I don't prefer to do that because it just takes a long time, and there's a bit of an eyeballing involved in that. I tend to use this space here, which gives me absolute total control over the process. So I can specify the height of the object now. So I'm going to go say, can I have that 20 millimeter, please? And I'm going to go green tick to confirm. And this is how you generate a base profile, a solid. This is your first model that you created now. This is based on some dimensions, 100 by 200, and this is 20 millimeter tall. And then I can use the middle mouse button to be able to take a look around. It just looks beautiful. I wish it was a real piece of cheese. Now, what I did there was a really quick summary of what you will generally do, okay? And there are tons and tons of options in there. Let's take a step back and do it all over again in slow motion now. What I want to do is probably start over again. New part file. Here, I'll probably work off of top plane again. New sketch. This time I want to create myself a center to corner rectangle. I'm going to go snap onto the center point, and I'm going to hit it with some numbers. I'm going to say this is 150 and the height is 50. Whilst I'm on the case, I'm going to apply some fillets. So I'm going to round off some of these corners. 3 mil radius. So when that blue box is active, I'm going to go in and select myself a couple of those, in fact all of those corners to be able to get. And I'm just keeping an eye on here really. I got 4 entities there, which they all represented those vertices, and I'm going to go green tick to confirm, and that gives me my fully defined sketch, which is nicely filleted. It is positioned about the origin. I'm going to go green tick to confirm and exit the sketch. Once I'm out of the sketch environment, I'm going to go literally when it is active like so, or if it isn't active for some reason you clicked away, etc. It doesn't really matter as much really. You can go into the command, go extrude boss space, and the message will pop up. They'll say, can you select a plane where you want to draw your sketch, or select an existing sketch. I have created a sketch already, so I'm going to go and point Solidworks to, and this is why I don't like doing it, because I am just a few pixels away from 1 or 2. I might click here now and lead Solidworks believing that I want to draw something else there. I don't want to do that. I just want to be extra careful in terms of selecting that sketch. I tend to avoid this completely. I work off of the tree and I say, I'm going to pre-select the sketch I'm going to extrude. It works every single time. It gives me full confidence in the process as well. I'm going to go extrude that out. The minute I hit extrude, I get given few choices. Now we're going to look at them in some detail. If you are a fan of a coding program, and I'm sure you know how to write loops, etc., I want you to establish the analogy between those now. Okay, so this is your start condition, where you want it to start from, and this is your end condition right here. And there are some more other high level options that we will look at eventually. Okay, so the first, your start condition is where would you like Solidworks to start building that solid from? Would you like it on the sketch plane where it is on top plane sitting on the floor, or there are a few other choices? Would you want it to be start from some other surface or face? So you can actually, if you have a flat space face there where you produced your rounded corner rectangle, you could say, I don't want that to go from there onwards. You could say, I have another face sitting here, maybe at an angle, and I want it to start extruding from that point onwards this way. Okay, it's hard to imagine because we're not doing exactly the same thing, but I'm just showing you what the options are. Okay, you could choose a point in space where you want it to start extruding, and you can also say offset. So don't start building from that point onwards, step off a bit, and then start building my solid up. And here in that little dialog, I get to say what is the offset, and as I toggle, you can see it's offsetting already. It is jumping up 20 millimeter high, and it's giving me a certain thickness, and I can control that thickness too. Okay, if I wanted that to be offsetted. For this time being, I'm going to go and say, let's just have it from the sketch plane as standard. I'm happy for it to come out from my floor plane like that. Okay. Here in my directions control, I get to choose a few options here. Okay, so first of all, you need to remember this, and this is very common interface for most of these commands now. Okay, when the drop down is pre-selected on blind, that means you are specifying the height or the depth of your extrude, which way you want it to go, etc. So you're making a actually quite a definitive decision. Okay, so blind will allow you to pick a distance, and you say, right, can I have that to be 7 mm? Okay, and that's exactly what creating a blind extrude means. You know, you're specifying how far it can go. Okay, there are a couple more options in there. So just as we saw from in the initial condition, this is also the same. You can send it off to a vertex, send it off to maybe a surface or something. So you start building from this point and you had a nice organic surface. You can say build up to that point. It's just so hard to imagine. However, SolidWorks will do that. We'll just build up to that point and morph around the surface. So that's what you would use that option for. You can offset it from a surface. You can go up to the body, mid plane, etc. So the one I use very often is blind and mid plane. Now, mid-plane is probably my favorite variable in this particular case. What that really does is when you selected that top plane as your sketch plane and you are building off of that, and you said, right, make it 20 thick. If I were to say my end condition is on mid-plane and 20 mm, SolidWorks will then start to build around my top plane. So as you can probably see in this preview here, the mid-plane construction is actually distributing solid above and below the top plane evenly. So that just makes it quite nicely mid-plane, really, which is really handy because I like things which are nice and symmetric, you know, placed around the origin as the centroid of the mass, etc. So it's just really nice to look at and easy to understand too. So most of the time you'll see me using mid-plane as the preferred extrusion. However, all of this then depends on the design intent. What is it I'm trying to achieve with it? Okay, so for this particular example, I'm just going to go with blind, and I'm going to go ahead and say 20 mm of thickness is exactly what I'm after. So I'm going to go green tick to confirm, and I'm going to take a look around. So zoom in, zoom out using the mouse. I can rotate. There we go. And I can use the gestures as well to be able to organize that to whichever view I want it to be. Okay, and this is my preferred choice. Now next up, I would like to show you another profile, which is very simple. Cylinder. Once again, I'm going to go on a plane I would like to sketch. I'm going to go onto front plane this time. And I'm going to go ahead and draw myself a circle right at the center there. I'm going to dimension that as fully defined. Green tick to confirm. Exit sketch. I'm going to extrude that out, and I can extrude that out from the front plane coming out. If I wanted that to go onto the other side, I could do this. Right next to blind, there is a function, there is a little button there that allows me to toggle the direction. So as you can probably see, it allows me to bring it out this particular direction if I wanted to, the front of the front plane or back of the front plane by sending it towards the back. It is really handy. Sometimes you have a choice of a plane and SolidWorks will try and build it onto the wrong side, but you wanted it onto the goal. So this is once again a generic function to be able to flip the direction, okay, reverse the direction of building. In this particular case, again, I'm going to go and say, can I have that mid plane? And the extrusion I was after is 200 mm long. Okay, green tick to confirm, and that gives me the cylinder sitting nice and centered in my graphics area about that. Now, what if on a good day somebody walks over to you and say, look, you know, Tushar, you've done an amazing job modeling that cylinder, but I don't like it. On the inside you're fuming, saying this is the best cylinder ever. What are you talking about? But you got to listen to them, and they say, oh, look, I don't want it to be 200. I wanted that to be slightly longer because we did some calculations, and then 200 is not going to cut it. Can we have it 217, please? Just a random number. It can't be any random than that. Okay. And I'm thinking, okay, yeah, no problem. I know how to do that. Since Solidworks is a parametric model, I can control everything about this. But how do I do that? Now, this is a generic process, and I want you to remember that. Every time you want to be able to edit a feature you created, you got to go on the tree, and if you select the feature you got to edit, you got to go in there, and it is always the top left option like this. This is called edit feature. Okay, so you need to understand the process correctly. We have the layer system here. Okay, so if I were to open that chevron there, that is regarded as your one step. Okay, so that bundle right there has made that cylinder. If I wanted to make another cylinder, I'll probably have to draw another sketch and maybe extrude that out, and that will be bundled in quite nicely like that. Okay, and you need to break it down into those 2 dimension and the additional dimension, and whichever one you are willing to change. For instance, if you wanted to edit the cross section of your cylinder, all you got to do is go into that chevron, select that sketch, go into sketch edit. The first option on the left hand side. Once again, it's exactly the same place. Okay, and if you wanted to edit the feature length, you would go, or the feature extent, you would go into edit feature right here. Okay, both of them are obtained by either right click and editing, or just by select and edit. So let's just say this time I wanted that to be a higher diameter. I can go right click, look normal to, and instead of that 150, I'm going to plug in my new number, which was a very precise 167. So that's a thicker diameter, and we also got to make it longer. So I'll do that on the other layer. Okay, so whilst we are here, I'm going to make sure that looks nice and pretty. And once I'm happy with it, and once I run all the checks, make sure it's all fully defined with the correct dimensions, I'm going to exit the sketch, and SolidWorks has gone ahead and it has rebuilt that cylinder with the increased thickness. I didn't have to reconstruct the boss once again. Okay, now in this particular case, I have to comply and make it a longer boss. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to say, right, edit that, and when I have the opportunity to make it longer or shorter, I can do it from here. It takes me back into the same mode I was previously in. So I'm going to say I wanted this to be 217 millimeter, and I can green tick to confirm, and you're free to go home now. As easy as that. Okay, so just bear in mind, when you are working on a model like this, you will have something in the graphics area that represents all the steps you've taken, and the steps are generally shown in a feature manager tree like this. Okay, depending on what is it you need to edit, you need to be very mindful of the chronology of the events and the effect it has going to have on the other aspects of it. So for example, I wanted to change the diameter of it. I went into the sketch, edit that through there, plugged in a new number, came out of the sketch, and then I went in and edited the feature to be able to extend the cylinder for a higher number, and it worked pretty good for me. Okay, and I'm quite happy with that. Now in this bit, I would like to show you what happens when you have a sketch within another sketch. It's called a nested sketch. Okay, let's take a look at that. And nothing makes a better example than a pipe, basically 2 concentric circles. So I'm going to go this time, I'm going to go select my right plane, and I'm going to start sketching. Whilst I'm in the sketch mode, I'm going to go plant myself 2 nice looking circles, concentric, like so, and I'm going to dimension those now. So this is the outer diameter, 150, and the circle on the inside is 125, giving us a wall thickness of 12.5 millimeter in there. Okay, once again, I'm going to quickly check whether the drawing is fully defined and whether I've specified everything I need to specify about this sketch. It has turned black, and there's a message that says fully defined, so I am free to exit the sketch, and I am back at the feature level. Here I can select my sketch 1, and I can go into extrude boss base, and all of a sudden SolidWorks will try and work out what is it I'm trying to do. This time I gave SolidWorks something different. It's not just one continuous profile. We created 2 profiles. So it's gone away thinking what to do with it. Okay. So whenever we have a nested profile like this, SolidWorks will obviously do its magic and it will come back with a solution like this, which is exactly what I wanted. Okay. Once again, whilst I'm here, I'm going to say I'm happy with the start condition as a sketch plane, but I would like that to be built around the sketch plane, and I wanted that to be a meter long. I'm happy with the way it's previewing, so I'm going to go ahead and green tick to confirm, and it will create a pipe section with a cavity on the inside. Now if you wanted to take a look inside, feel free to go and use some of the standard views here. So for example, the one I prefer to use all the time is called the section views, and once you go in there, it gives you 3 choices. You can split your model around the front plane, the top plane, or the right plane. Okay, so you depending on what you want to do, or you can incline that whichever way you. So you literally got to go drag that in, and you can do a customized split as well. Okay, and just make sure it looks okay and this is exactly what you needed, so on and so forth. I'm going to Control Z out of it and say green tick to confirm, and this shows me the sectional view. This I didn't cut the model, it's just the view I have organized to show me just the half pipe, really, in case we wanted to carry on building something on the inside of it. We just got rid of the other half. It is there, it is not deleted, it is just, as you can see, it is switched on. Okay, once again, if I wanted to go back to the full pipe, I can switch it off and we are back to where we were. Okay, just like earlier, if somebody says, if I wanted to redesign this pipe section, depending on what is it I need to redesign, I would go into either the sketch to be able to change the diameter of the circles, or I would go into edit the feature here to be able to change the length or the extent of the cylinder. Okay, so once again, let me demo that. I can go into sketch, right click, edit sketch. And once I'm here, I'm going to right click and look normal too. And instead of these old numbers, I'm going to go ahead and edit it to a different parameter. And once I've come out of it, SolidWorks will automatically roll forward. It has built that. Also, as it happens, I wanted to change the extent of that, so I'm going to go right click, edit, and this time I wanted that to be 1200 millimeter, 1.2 meters. Green tick to confirm, and that's the pipe section I was after. Take a look around, make sure it's correct. Job done. Happy days.